What's up guys, it's Greta and today we are back at 408 Beauty Academy where we are going to learn a blunt cut. We have done face framing, curtain bangs, horizontal layers, vertical layers with like the 90-degree layers, and various other things splattered in there a little bit. So today is the blunt cut. This one is, it sounds easy, but it can be a little tricky sometimes. So I am going to cover my tips and tricks with you, as well as just what you're going to be going over in school. So you are going to be ready next time you perform this at school, or you're doing it on a friend and you want it to just turn out good. Or again, you may be studying for your state board test, and I just want to be here to help you with maybe some extra tips that you haven't heard before, you haven't seen, or just a different way of learning. Everybody learns in different ways. Some people just can't get it from reading a book, and let's be honest, a lot of us hairdressers need to be hands-on, which I know has been hard this past year. A lot of things have been online. This is online, I get that, but this is just gonna try and give you another way of learning and seeing and understanding from somebody else's educational viewpoint. So if you are ready to learn how to do a blunt cut, let's get started. Yet again, we have Miss Kim with us, and while I'm parting her hair, I'm just gonna chat with you a bit. If you have not seen my sectioning and parting video, that is in my 408 Beauty Academy playlist, and you can follow along in that on how to section and part the hair properly. But I just want to touch base with you so you are aware where I'm coming from. I am, if you're new here and you don't know already, I am a licensed cosmetologist as well as a licensed cosmetology teacher. I'm not currently teaching in a school. This is my school, so I guess I am currently teaching in my online school. So all of my classes are here on YouTube for you for free, but I would really appreciate it if you gave these videos a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to also share these with your friends that are going through cosmetology school right now. You never know what could help somebody if they're struggling with a certain thing. So be sure to subscribe to my channel to help me out, and then help other people in turn, because the more that you help me grow bigger on YouTube, the more students can see my content. So typically this section, I just pull over my client's shoulder and it sits there in front of their shoulder out of my way. So I'm not clipping that, I just hang it over the shoulder, apex down to ear, and then bring that forward and just get that out of the way. These are these lovely curtain bangs we cut in the last class period. If you're interested in seeing how to cut the curtain bangs, I can leave that down below as well, but again, that will be in my 408 Beauty by Greta playlist. Now what we're going to be doing is you're going to come in closer, you'll see my sectioning. Blunt cut means no layers, okay? It is one length blunt. This could be a blunt bob, it could be a blunt lob, it could be blunt, like really long length as well. It just means one length, no layers. So she currently has layers. Okay, so this is shorter, comes down to here, but the length is down here, okay? So we're gonna come not quite that high because I don't want to get rid of all the layers, because I don't want to go and get rid of so much length. So we're gonna come halfway probably. So we're gonna kind of get rid of a lot of layers, but not all of them, okay? So let's get in closer. All right, so here we are. This is the side of her head. You can see this section was parted from the back and the front. That's separated, falls over her shoulder out of my way. I apologize, she's wiggly. She doesn't really fit on this stand super well. We're going towards the back. We're going to continue that line from the middle part down. Now, how do you decide if you're going to cut with the middle part or not? Maybe I'll cover that more in a more in-depth video later. Comment down below if you'd like to see that. But I'm going to say this client wears her hair down the middle, so we're going to cut it down the middle. If she wears it on a certain side and does not ever change it, cut her hair with that part. If she's a hair flipper, do it down the middle. Explain to your client that if you cut down the middle and she's a hair flipper, when she flips it and it's not sitting in the middle, she'll have a little bit of layering on either side that she's flipping on. Because the hair has to travel to the other side, it gets a little shorter. Just slightly, unless she goes really deep. So these are our sections here in the back. Middle continued down. This clipped out of the way, this clipped out of the way, and then we have our length. So this is our section here. You want to make sure your client's head is even. You don't want her to be sitting to the side this way or to the side that way. And if she's forward, that's okay. You just have to understand the angle that creates. If her head is totally straight up and down, you can cut your straight line. If it's down, you have to angle it down like a rooftop a little bit. Then when she moves up, it'll come back up to straight line. So I sometimes like to have her look straight up and down like that, you know, not looking down at all. Cut my straight line and then have her look down to see if any pieces are kind of like hiding. So we're gonna cut here. Now you can do natural fall like this. Okay, so you're combing at the section, in the roots, and down. So that comb is on the head, on the scalp the entire time, and then down, just like that. And then you just snip, 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 snip your straight line that way, or you can hold it with tension and then cut that way. I'm gonna do natural fall. And I just want you to know that if you're holding with tension, you should hold tension the entire way up the head, because you want to leave it as consistent as possible throughout each section. That includes how wet the hair is too, because the drier it is, the more it's bouncing up. So we're gonna do natural fall, and we're gonna come about up to here. So that's a good like 1.5 to 2 inches. Okay, her head is looking slightly down at the moment. We're gonna go up a little bit, and this is all I'm gonna do. I'll show you here. Making sure her head is positioned correctly. I've combed from my section, straight down, section, straight down. That's natural fall. Okay, that's where I want to cut. Just like that. That's your section. Now you want to make sure both sides are even. You can pull it down, and without looking, just feeling, you can see if they end at the same point. Now I'm tipping her head down, and I am combing and holding to see if I missed any little stray hairs, but don't change your line. If you can tell something's totally out of place, that's fine. You can change that. Okay, now I'm taking my next section down. Okay, I'm not using my clip to part the hair, because in school they don't want to see that. They want to see you parting the hair with your comb. Okay, same angle, kind of slightly down towards the face. just like that. You can see that here. Clip this hair up out of the way, just so that's tight. This doesn't have to be beautiful up here. And if it's easier, take one section at a time. And make sure they're thin enough so that you can see your guide from your previous cut section. Now, the angle of her head here matters, but not as much because you already have your guide and you know to just follow your guide. Okay, so we're gonna turn this way here. And what I'm gonna do for you, comb that down again. And then I'm actually flipping my wrist. So instead of cutting this way, if I was standing right behind her, because I'm standing over here on the side, I flip my wrist and I cut this way. So I'm, instead of my thumb being more inside, it's kind of more on the outside. Okay? And just making the same angle, creating the same line. Nice and blunt. Okay, and we're doing the same thing on the other side. Here I'm just going to demonstrate for you what it looks like to hold the hair. So you're going to comb that straight down into your hands, holding it with tension. And then I'm coming palm to palm. So I can now lift this because I am holding with that tension here. And this palm is facing this palm. So we're palm to palm, and I will cut that section like that. Not cutting past like the second knuckle on the second finger here. So we want to recomb, rehold, can bring it up to where you can see, and cut. Okay, you can do either way, but really should be sticking to one method each time. Oops, I have a habit of sectioning with my clips, but I want to be with you guys here, so I'll section that with my comb and actually take a little bit less so that I can see my guide. Okay. Once again, we're combing it down, combing the scalp the whole way, and even dragging it at the back of the neck and holding it down. You want to follow the hair the way the hair flows. Okay. So I'm just actually going to lift her up here so that you can see this. It's just little bits of hairs there that are outside my line. I may have held that too high for you. I'll show you again on the other side, okay? Combing all the way down the scalp, all the way down the scalp. Okay, I'll lift it up now this time. Hopefully you'll be able to see. Okay, here's my guideline down there, and I'm just snipping right where that line is. Just like that. Okay, obviously you can't hold your client's head like that, but I'm just trying to give you a different view of what we're doing. And just continue. What you're doing. Still just working with the two back sections. We have not gone into the front section yet. Okay, now every once in a while, just make sure both sides are doing the same thing and they're even. Now, not all of this top section is going to reach, so I would suggest, if it is all going to reach, to take it smaller sections here. But because I have layers and not all of this is going to reach like this, it won't reach my length. So I'm not going to have much to cut here, and it'd be kind of silly to take tiny section, cut only like 2 strands each time. So I'm actually going to take out both sides here. Another thing is I wear like a bracelet or my watch or something I can clip my clips to so that they're easy to grab. The other thing is sometimes it's on your clothes, the bottom of your shirt, your sleeve, your pants pocket, something like that, to just have them readily available for you. And now when we're at the top, especially with a blunt cut, and if you're doing natural fall, we're gonna do spoking. This is where we take your finger at the apex up here. Okay, let me bring her down. Apex, which is the topmost part of the head. You're going to take just a few of your teeth from your comb, and you're going to, let me come to the other side. You're going to comb just with a couple teeth all the way down the head, making sure that you're on the scalp the whole way down. And this is grabbing the hairs from where they are and placing them where they're naturally going to fall. And you're going to do that all the way around the head, especially in the back. And we're just finishing off the back here before we move to the front. Remember to follow all the way down on the head. You don't want to lift up because you'll either lose the hair or bring it to a place it's not meant to be. Just a couple of teeth, remember, of your comb. Once you get to the side, it usually just falls to the side. Okay? And now, this section isn't necessarily combed for you to cut, but you don't want to comb all the way from the top again, so come to the nape and go down. Otherwise, you'll mess up all the work you just did to bring the hair to the natural fall. Okay? Now, this might be where I'll kind of hold that hair with my fingers, just in case some of this is going in different directions and flipping out. Okay? Let's lift her back up so you can see the base. I'll turn her to the side here. You can see some of these hairs here that are too long. We have yet to cut. So my guide is under here. If you can see, that's where my guide is. And these hairs here are just falling outside my guide. Now keep in mind the angle of the head, especially right now. When you're getting to the side and to the front, that angle is really important because you can very easily accidentally come up where it rounds up in the front, and most people don't want that when they're doing like a shorter blunt cut. They either want one length or even like angled a little bit longer in front. Okay, so her head is nice and straight, so that means I need to keep my cut nice and straight as well. Okay, this is the front. We're not doing that yet. Coming to the other side. Again, that's the front. We're not doing that yet. It's just these little guys here. All right. Now, with the front, going down again, we're going to take sections like this. Okay? One by one. If you do the whole chunk at the one time and you get it wrong, there's no way to go back. Section by section right here. All right. Now this is where it's important to know exactly where her head is. So we see this is our line. Anything that falls out of that line needs to be cut. Typically what I'm gonna have my clients do when I get to this side is turn their head to the opposite shoulder. So I'm gonna cut this side, and then I'll cut this side when they look over to the other shoulder. That way I have like a flat surface rather than like the hump of the shoulder on the side. So the hair is like either brushing off onto it, moving in different directions that makes it hard, or I'm starting to elevate. And that's really the biggest problem. I don't want to elevate the hair, especially when you're doing natural fall blunt. Elevation is going to create some sort of graduation or layers that you're not going to want with your blunt cut. So have your client turn to the side to give you a flat cutting surface with no shoulder in the way. All right, so we have this one section here on the side, and we are going to do natural fall here, which also gives allowance for the ear to kind of bump some of that hair up when it's dry. So we are going to, number one, either hold it in the comb, then cut, or comb it and then cut. So I'm gonna comb it and then cut. And I'm kind of just gonna follow my line here, right? So if this is like this, it's just going to continue the same line right there. Next section down. Comb that all down from the roots on the scalp all the way down until you can see your hairs. Now I really don't see anything falling outside of my line, so this is the point where I'm gonna comb and pull a little bit, comb and pull a little bit. Okay, so that actually seems shorter in front. That's probably from our face framing. So there really wasn't anything to cut there. Pulling that down now, combing, nothing seems to be falling outside of my line. It actually seems to be rounding up slightly here, but like I said, that's from our face framing. So let's switch sides and come to our next side, our next section. Clean up the section. Remember, you comb exactly the way that you section the hair. So if you section this angle, comb at that angle. If you section this angle, comb at that angle. Okay. Find your angle. You can hold your comb there to help you show your angle. You don't want to tip up. You don't want to tip down too much unless you're going for that longer in the front or shorter in the front. Comb according to your angle. And find your length, your guide, and snip, snip. And like on the other side, I'm sure none of this is really going to fit. Maybe there's going to be a reach. I think there might be a few pieces here, but not too much. So let's see. Just like 3 hairs there that are really longer, and that's all you really need to do. Okay, that is our blunt cut. Okay, now when you dry, the hair may fall in different directions, in different places. Maybe this hair fell here now, but now it's going to fall over here. So you dry, and then you're going to recheck your haircut. You're going to make sure that there are no pieces that are sticking out. So when they are dry, you'll have them look down, comb it down, and see if your line is clean. You can also see it visually, but sometimes there are a few pieces that are hiding, especially in this area where the front meets the back. And when you dry, you just want to make sure that is all the same length. So I'm going to dry her, and I'll be right back. Now that she is all styled, we can double check that our front is the same length on both sides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stand in front of her. So this is what I would do. I'd have her look nice and straight up. Not like up, but like neutral. And then I'm gonna take some hair there from the front and just not looking at the hair, like I'm actually just feeling the length, and this side's longer. So I can actually visually see that too, but sometimes your eyes deceive you. So that's why it's important to just feel it. So what you can do is you can take your comb to show you where you need to be. So you place the comb at that length, and it tells you how much needs to come off that length, okay? And that's why it's super important to do finishing touches towards the end when it's dry, because some hair jumps more than others. This side was even, and now that we're dry, it's a little not even. So we're gonna go ahead and fix that. So I'll show you that is longer than that side, okay? So I have my comb, find my length here. Okay, you can either leave that there and you can just cut that, and then you can take it away. Why are you moving on me here? Just about there. Okay, I'll just give myself a guide. Okay, double check. Feeling good. And then just making sure that that blends into the length on that side. So here, I can see right away what happened actually when I comb it. Now let's back up a little bit for you. So I had a good length and then it angled down. So all I have to do is even that out. Combing it down. You can even leave the whole front till when you're dry if you're nervous that the length is gonna change so much. Look how good she looks with this length, how full it looks. She still has some layers in here. This is shorter than the length, but that's looking really good. So next thing we want to do, now that we made sure the front is even, is have her look down, comb all the hair, remember, combing from the scalp, and then combing this into my fingers, pulling it down, and just cleaning up that line. Remember to stay right where you're cutting. So if I'm cutting the back, I want to stand in the back. If I'm cutting on the side, I want to stand on the side. And then of course, if you're standing or you're cutting in the front, you want to stand in the front. So now I'm on the side. Always be aware of where her head is. I knew that was down, so my angle reflected that. All right. Nice blunt cut. So here we are, all finished. Length is good for her, nice and blunt. Besides the layers she already had that we didn't go up to, it gives a much fuller appearance to the hair because all of the hair meets at the same place and then ends. If you do layers, it's always going to loosen up your length to make it feel a little bit thinner. And sometimes that's a good thing, especially on like thicker hair. You know, layers really help to take care of fullness there. But overall, that is how you do your blunt cut. Now I've showed you before how to check like layers by flipping her hair this way, but blunt cut, because it's falling straight down, you can only check that straight down. So with a mannequin, you can kind of hold her up and kind of make sure everything's looking good, you know, from that way, from front to back, side to side, making sure everything's looking good. That is our blunt cut, and I think she's looking pretty good. Let's see if you can see her here a little bit better. Definitely didn't hold that very steady. Again, I just want to mention to you that I do post regularly every Thursday. Not always for 408 Beauty Academy, but just other videos in general, like tutorials on braids and things like that. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. That would really, really help me, and I'd really appreciate it. Be sure to also give this video a big thumbs up, because again, that also helps me. And I want to make sure my videos can be seen by many people who are trying to learn hair cutting, whether they're in school or not. So please help me to do that by giving the video a thumbs up, commenting down below, and subscribing to my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's class, and be sure to stick around so you can learn so much more with me, Greta, your cosmetology educator. Okay, bye guys, see you next week.